we are thrilled to be able to invite an old friend of the CIJ and an old friend of Gavin MacFadyen, Eileen Chubb, who's the founder of Compassion in Care. She's also someone who's done some magnificently innovative investigative journalism of her own by investigating malpractice using undercover recording in care homes. So Eileen's come to deliver the annual Gavin MacFadyen Award for services to whistleblowers. And to join her and say a few words too, we're extremely pleased to have Susan Benn, Gavin's widow, also a friend of Eileen. So last year's award went to Private Eye. And can I ask Eileen to take the stage and come and say a few words about who's won this year? Eileen.
I am Eileen Chubb, Booper 7 whistleblower, always first, founder of the charity Compassion in Care and co-founder of The Whistler with Gavin MacFadyen. The Gavin MacFadyen Award aims to recognise exceptionally great journalism and is the only award in the world that honours a journalist or publisher nominated by whistleblowers. I know myself both as a whistleblower and in the work that I do supporting thousands of whistleblowers, as well as families who have lost a loved one because a whistleblower was ignored or due to staff being too afraid to speak out. It is the media and not the authorities who have helped me to expose and stop abuse every day. Sometimes the failures of those same authorities also needs to be exposed. This year's winner took on a story that challenged a regulator's betrayal of whistleblowers, whilst protecting the identity of the 47 whistleblowers involved. Before I ask Gavin MacFadyen's wife Susan to present the award, I would like to finish by reading the words of just one of the 47 whistleblowers and also the words of one of those who contacted us after the BBC Radio 4 broadcast. Quote, "I wanted the story told. I was so afraid I would be named. It took me a long time to pick up the pieces after whistleblowing. My job was taken just because I did the right thing. I had to go and work in a different sector because my trust in the regulator was completely taken from me. When the story was broadcast, I felt for the first time what I can only describe as justice, that there was justice in this world after all." And we had a huge response to the story, and this is just one of the comments that came in. "Even members of my own family did not believe me that you could lose your job for reporting abuse to the CQC, that they gave my name to my employer. When I heard the programme, I cried. I was not alone anymore. I felt the truth being told changed everything. Others would be better treated. I cried all night. There are no words to express how much it meant to me." It's so important that the difficult stories where the whistleblower can't be named is given the absolute protection by a journalist, and that the stories are told despite them being difficult stories. The winner of the 2018 Gavin MacFadyen Award is Andrew Hosken. There you go.
Andrew, I'm very proud to give you this on behalf of Gavin's memory and the fact that when we started The Whistler with you, Eileen, we had no idea that there would be such a groundswell of need and that the forces that didn't want to be exposed wouldn't like it as much as they do now. So well done.
Thank you very much indeed. That's very kind. Thank you. Thanks very much. If I can just, well, first of all, thank you very much indeed to Eileen and Susie. It's an enormous honour. I was a big fan of Gavin MacFadyen's work, and my predecessor recipient, Ian Hislop, as well, was very much well-deserved. So I'm very, very flattered and honoured with this award. And it made me reflect on the journalism that I've done over the last 30 years and how much of it's actually relied on whistleblowers ever since I was on a local paper. I had people come forward at great risk to themselves, really, to tell me what was going on, particularly in the health service and local councils and public bodies like that. And it's astonishing, really, just how rare an act of whistleblowing it is. It's an enormous act of courage, and I think it takes a particularly special type of person to do it. I sometimes, when I'm talking to whistleblowers, search within myself and ask, well, would I take these risks? And they are very considerable risks indeed. People lose their jobs, their minds. Telling the truth, talking the truth to power. It's also not the easiest thing in the world to get hold of a journalist who will listen to whistleblowers. And sometimes they're quite astonished when someone will listen to them. And I think it's extremely important that no matter how distressed someone may be, or obsessive sometimes, because when they're in this situation, when they're in these situations, when they're seeing terrible things happen, and they want to talk out, it's very easy for people to get very worked up and very upset and appear to be quite obsessive, but it's extremely important for journalists to listen to what they have to say, because we are sometimes the only avenue that the truth can get out, unfortunately. And there are fewer journalists, it feels to me, who are prepared to sort of, or even have the time to talk to whistleblowers. Also, we're living in a country, and I think perhaps we're not unique in this sense, that there are actually now more press officers working for public bodies than there are journalists reporting on them. And I've gone to local authorities and health authorities, and you see these huge banks of people working in the press office. And often it's the public bodies that most need the good press because they have problems. So this is also a very big challenge. I think also this country and we're not alone in this, I'm sure, are becoming ever more secretive and oppressive in a way. I remember being a local newspaper reporter back in the 1980s, and you could go along to a local council's meetings. They were all held in public. There weren't these sort of local government council cabinets that meet in secret and have delegated powers. Local health authorities were public. They were held every month, and you could go along to a local health authority. And when they went into secret session, you often found that often the trade union rep would tell you what happened there as well. And so there was a lot more openness. And what's happened is this openness is becoming, less so. These public bodies are becoming more secretive, and the use, for example, of so-called gagging orders when something does go wrong is also becoming more widespread. We even have confidentiality agreements that the government is compelling contractors and other bodies to sign, so they won't talk to the media. We've seen this over, what's happening with Brexit, and certain, for example, organisations such as the road hauliers are being asked to sign confidentiality agreements because the government may be concerned about what they may say or what their views may be. So it is a great concern. That's sort of my main concern. So I think we need whistleblowers more than ever now. And the important thing is that they're protected not only by journalists like me, who are given a great deal of trust when someone comes to you, and obviously their main concern is being exposed. But sometimes they've gone, for example, to the Care Quality Commission, and there's been grave suspicions afterwards, as Eileen said, that they've been sort of dobbed into their own employer. This is also an alarming development. But anyway, I'd just like to say again, thank you very much indeed. And if there's any whistleblowers who want to talk to me in the audience about whatever, please get in touch. But in the meantime, again, I can't tell you what a great honor this is, and thank you very much indeed for listening to me.